I know.
Okay, I'm going to record anyway, just in case. Good day, everyone. It's Monday, August 24th. Good to see you all. Welcome to our mastermind group for 24 August 2020. Let's see who we got joining us here live. Looks like we've had a little Zoom thing. We got an intimate group here today, although there is still more people than I can fit on this screen. I see Esther and her awesome hair. I see Jackie, Adrian, Evelyn, and Javier. What's up? Gail, John, Wayne, Bill, Tom. Hey, Jane and Neil. I see Jane. I don't see Neil. Jane, you sent me an email. I got to get back to you. We got some good stuff going on. We're going to connect. Susie, and of course, Nancy, Jamie, Ace Man, always good to see you, brother. Wendy, Carl, looking slick as always. Jody, Coral, Star, one of my favorite people. Lieutenant Colonel Mark, Ivier, Glenn, Carlene, Mandy, and I think that's all the people I can see on my screen at this moment. And of course, I'm John Lavenia, and I'm glad to be here with you today. We're going to have a fun week. Oh my goodness. Yes, last week was our first ever full schedule. In fact, we even had a special event. We ended the week with my friend Christian, who came out and addressed us all on long range follow up and in relationship marketing, and how actually seeking to build and maintain relationships without necessarily a specific agenda right now in this exact moment, but how that long range has added up to millions of dollars in revenue and profitability for not only himself, but for those who have worked with him and who do work with him. Like myself, I worked with Christian for years in various projects, and we make a pile of money doing good stuff and helping people get benefits. So if you are a full member here, you've got access to that recording. Feel free to check it out in our recordings section, where you will find recordings of everything that's on our calendar, including these general sessions. But I'm just going to refer to the calendar real quick. And as I do, I want to give a shout out to our friend Stuart and Leah Wild, who have a nephew who in his 20s, who his life ended catastrophically. So our hearts go out to Stuart and Leah. And they are awesome people out in New Mexico, the Laughing Llama people, with the Llama Adventure Tours. And right now they are just going through some stuff. So Stuart will not be with us this evening, for those of you who are looking forward to our e-commerce work group, but we do have the mighty, the one, the only retired Lieutenant Colonel Mark Riggle, who's going to be taking care of that session tonight. I know in our Facebook group, we've got people making requests. I put a little post in there, hey, e-commerce problems, questions, ideas, have at it, right? So I know we're getting comments in there on that post. So if you're in our private Facebook group, because you're a member here, then please make requests there. And Mark will be manning that show tonight. And then, of course, at 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, we are having our book study, where we're going to be tackling the remainder of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, the classic book, the one that I've said from time to time, this should cost $20,000. But it's actually free because it was written in 1902 and it's long out of copyright. Again, if you're on our members site, you can download a free copy right there in the resources section under books, and you click the red button to download a PDF, and definitely go through that today because we're going to have a lot of fun. So again, we're here on general session now, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, e-commerce work group with Mark Riggle, and 9 p.m. Back here with you for the book club. Having said all that, I need to acknowledge some people because this has been, and this is going to lead into our topic for today as well. So this isn't just me giving everyone a tongue bath, but I know I've received plenty over the last week, just this first week that we've come out and had this whole forum, and not just John talking in the mornings, but actually lots of people participating. I got to acknowledge Stuart and Leah. I got to acknowledge, of course, Glenn Henderson, who just last week came out for the first time with Networking Magic. And that was something that he did. You know what? I'd like to offer some ideas on, being a better networker in terms of building our contact list and, getting out into the marketplace. And I have a business colleague who was on that broadcast for the first time ever, right? Because it was the first time ever that broadcast existed. And they profited from it. Hundreds of dollars profited from it within an hour. Done. Just like that. So hats off to Glenn. So these are real tangible results, which again is leading into our conversation today. I need to acknowledge Victoria and of course Sharon as well. Victoria and Sharon run our kids club. Excuse me, Victoria did our first ever installment of it last week, and we're getting the pieces together. I know Star is also looking to do something perhaps in a more British friendly time, but I can't do that stuff alone. So hats off to Victoria and Sharon and Star for taking the initiative on that. We're going to have Nancy coming out and doing yoga with us. We've got Nicola that's going to be coming out tomorrow, in fact, before our general session, who's going to be doing some experimenting with a group meditation session. There's also talk of Pilates, Therese, right? I need to acknowledge Adrian Garner, who we've already heard from here today, who's doing life and business tools. Adrian's brilliant, by the way, you guys. I like to sometimes, if I'm talking to someone of a lot of arrogance, and like they want to go ahead and assert their rightness, I'll sometimes remind them I've got 147 IQ. With Adrian, I don't know if I want to match IQ tests with that guy. I mean, he is like, you guys know Adrian. He is like brilliant. Guy's a genius. So thank you, Adrian, for all you contribute here. And then of course we've got global and tactical marketing coming up this week with Mark Riggle on Thursday, and that alternates Thursdays with Brand Builder. You guys got into Brand Builder last week with my secret weapon, Shannon, and oh my goodness, I got some feedback on that this was like better than stuff that I paid thousands of dollars for in like a half hour. Holy goodness, right? So we're just getting started. So and I hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, Jamie Young. Let me just say, behind the scenes, you guys haven't heard from Jamie Young yet, but he's on here right now. And Jamie, just the moral support that you've offered so far. Thank you. So anyway, hats off to everyone. Ego, right? Ego, who's now hosting, looks like she'll be hosting on Wednesday. She's also coordinating just of her own volition. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put this together here. We're going to have a schedule, right? Wayne's going to be talking about the metaphorical significances, between like aviation and life. And we're going to put something on the calendar for that as well. What else? We've got, oh my goodness, so much, but this is just what we've seen on the calendar so far. Guys, this has taken on a life of its own, right? It wouldn't exist without people like you all, right? Jane, Neil, Ivier, right? Evelyn. Oh, how can I, you know what? I'm going to cut it off with this because I want to acknowledge everyone. And I am acknowledging everyone. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for your intent. I'm going to say Evelyn, the other Evelyn Melendez, who's taken command of the Facebook group. Thank you. I'm not like a Facebooker guy, but every time I show up on Facebook and say, Evelyn has posted to the Facebook group. So Evelyn, thank you, my friend. This is your mastermind group, everyone. So we're just getting going. Now, this week is going to be huge because I'm moving. In addition to moving, we've got lots of things on the calendar. Today, I want to talk about something that I sort of alluded to already. And that is something that I got from an email because you're all sending me feedback on these emails that you get when you become a new member, which, by the way, welcome to our brand new members. Oh my goodness. You're the most important person in the room. Welcome to our brand new members who are here. We haven't even promoted this yet, and yet the word's starting to get out. But I got an email from one of our esteemed members talking about the idea of making progress in life, and they're involved in e-commerce. They're involved in doing new things, new pursuits that require learning, that require new knowledge, new skill sets. But they're approaching it, they think, perhaps with the same mindset that has gotten them this far, but not necessarily further. Can any of you relate to this? Right? Here's my best thinking. And yeah, I'm a survivor. Look at all the shit that I've gone through. And here I am. I am still here. Yes, give me a badge. That's nice. That's nice. But are we approaching our progress, our goals, right? Assuming we have goals, are we approaching them as the same person who tends to be just a survivor? Okay, so if we just look at the words, all right, survival can mean a few different things. Survival's good. What's the alternative? Perish, death, non-survival, right? Not good, not good. I mean, all of nature, everything you look at, right, is surviving or not, right? So that's good. But how else can we look at this? does survival mean that we dress in rags and live in a hovel and like what Wallace D. Wattles talked about in The Science of Getting Rich, like that's it? Or that somehow you're pious or something because you're as poor as a church mouse, right? Is that it? Is that your lot in life? Is that your merit badge that you get to be broke and survive? Oh, right. So there are, if we look at survival as you know, I guess the basic thing, without that, you've got no shot really at anything else, at least not walking around in this body, right? Okay, so you're walking around in this body, so that's happening. And you've always had everything you've needed by evidence of the fact that you're still here, right? If you've ever not had what you needed, then you wouldn't be here anymore. You wouldn't be listening to this conversation. You'd be a corpse, right? So knowing that we've already got everything we need, can we start thinking beyond just necessity or survival in terms of the bare bones basics? Of course we can. And what we have to do is be willing, and this is how it kind of relates to all the acknowledgement that I was just attempting to offer everyone. We have to look beyond the standards that were good enough before and start to scale up, and we can't do it alone. And so here's how I'm going to unpackage all this, right? So for my friend who just sent me that email, one of our members here, talking about, perhaps transitioning or graduating from survival to a higher level of performance. Yes, that's good and right. But when we think about graduating, I'm thinking about a gradient going up the mountain. It's still the basis of it is survival, but it's not always a fight. Much of my life, I've been a fighter, right? So I'm always fighting. Think about it like this: I've got an opportunity here, and there's going to be problems. There's things to learn. All of us are going through this to one degree or another. I mean, if you're making progress in any way, right? You're learning new stuff. You're finding new ways to apply things, different combinations. Somebody said that just before we went live that this forum couldn't exist 20 years ago with the interwebs and everything. This didn't exist. Okay. And sure, we've done like Google Hangouts on air. And so that was one thing. Now there's Facebook, live broadcasts and YouTube live and everything. Right now we're broadcasting on Zoom. So that's the technology. But even before that technology existed, I used to host a weekly forum, basically what we're doing here, but under different auspices. And it was a conference call. People would call in with phones, right? And we'd all run up our phone bills $1,000 a month to have, to have conversations like this all over the world, right? With conference call bridges and everything. And so now we're just using a different technology. But the point is that we didn't do it alone, regardless of whatever technological via the experience, the group experience was happening on. I've alluded to this before, that my great breakthroughs, every time I've seen like this great breakthrough in my life, whether it's in terms of business or relationships or even fitness, right? I'll give you an example. I grew up on the Jersey Shore in New Jersey. I was a skinny kid. I was 140 pounds. I could never go past that. And I met these meatheads, right? And they're going to the gym. And we're all right, I'm going to go to the gym with you. And they taught me how to get big and strong, lift weights, right? So that was a catalyst, right? I got into an environment where the success that I sought was a reality. And there was the catalyst of other people to communicate with me and to demonstrate to me, look, you could have a better result. I put on 15 pounds in like 3 months. It's when you're going from, skin and bones to muscle, it happens really quick. Same thing for people who are looking to lose weight. Suddenly you let's say that you're severely overweight. Weight comes off fast once you immerse yourself in that environment and gotten with people who are getting the result that you seek. It becomes real. So it's not so much just about the fight or just about maintaining anymore. Here's where we're going with this. So if a person feels like they're just in survival mode, that life has always been a fight, and I've been there much of my life, right? Now I got to solve problems. But if it's the same fighter who's going to come and approach this progress that I'm postulating, that I'm reaching for, if I'm going to do it as a fighter, then I'm going to also be fighting myself. Quite often, I'm also going to be fighting myself in any business. Okay, look at any corporation. Okay, you've got let's say a sales and marketing department. You've got a legal department. These two departments don't mix. Okay, why is that? This is creative. This is destructive, right? This is about putting positive ideas and attraction and all this into the marketplace. This is about fighting lawsuits and having arbitration and all this sort of thing. These aren't the salespeople. These are the salespeople, right? Same, we could also say with product design or production, right? These are creative acts, right? These are destructive acts, and there's got to be both: create, destroy, create, destroy. So that is two different mindsets. And quite often, and I hope this resonates, so you can find some use out of this. Quite often, I've taken the fighter and put him into the creative role, but I'm still being the fighter, right? And what does that lead to? Cynicism and in fact, being stopped, being slowed down by my own operating within a box of here's what I already know. And yes, my best thinking got me this far, but it doesn't get me further. This whole mastermind platform, this whole forum, this membership, this thing that we're doing here, something that I've been doing solo in various different methods and forums for 20 years. Okay. But it's taken on a life of its own. I couldn't do that alone. Ego is creating, a whole schedule of, topics and ideas and things that we can do. I mean, because I can't show up on every single show every single day, right? I mean, oh my goodness, there's so much, right? There's only so much that one body, and one mind can do. Actually, the mind can do a whole lot. But I'm kind of limited with, this whole space and time, bodies, and, I got to sleep and eat. Oh my goodness, what an inconvenience. You know what I'm talking about, Lavenia. I know some people are foodies, right? They're like, oh, the gourmet stuff. I mean, I like good food. I'm busy, give me a chicken pot pie or something. Let's get back to work. But that's just my thing. But how much more can we do together than we can't do on our own, especially if we're living in the box of I'm a survivor or I'm a fighter or, you know what, this is my lot in life, or succumbing to just the limitation, the self-imposed limitation based on the standards that I accepted for myself for 20 years or however long it's been. We've got people coming out of, or looking to come out of employee type conditions. Those of you who've read Kiyosaki, you know about the cash flow quadrant. You've got employee. You don't have leverage. You are the leverage for the employer, okay? And you don't get paid what you're worth. You get paid what the job is worth. That's called an employee. I guess the good news is you got very little responsibility. You just do what you're told. Okay, if that's it, I would venture that's not it for everyone here, right? You're probably not in this conversation. You're probably watching kitten videos on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. Okay, so the next quadrant is S, which is the self-employed person, a bit more causative, right? A bit more self-determined, still laborious, not so much leverage, but who's in control? Ah, that's nice. And I've often said, my worst day as an entrepreneur is still better than my best day ever as an employee. Answering to the man, or fill in the blank with whatever cliche you like there. Self-determinism. We've all got that. That's all part of the innate drive to survive, to be, do, and have more. As all living creatures, trees, right? I mean, yes, more, increase. Okay, and that's the cycle of life. You grow, and then you make way for the next generation. The third quadrant is B, for business owner or a bigger business, right? So now you've got leverage. Now you're delegating, which is not my strong suit, which is why I'm so blown away by everything that's going on here. Okay, and see how you can use this in your own life, right? Do you have to do everything? Do you have to be all things to all people at all times? I've attempted to be that. Any people pleasers here? You hate to say no, right? And you're trying to juggle everybody's problems. You're carrying the weight of the world. Right? Well, you can't do that and get into the B quadrant. You're going to have to delegate, right? You're going to have to assign responsibility elsewhere. Now you still accept responsibility for the mission. I'm the leader and I've got this vision and here's where we're going with this and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And you be the manager of that and you be the manager of that. And you run the assembly line and you do that. And yes, here's recompense, right? Here is the sharing of the capital, right, that's created out of that enterprise, right? So that's a business owner. And then, of course, the fourth quadrant is I, for investor. Right now, it's like I'm hands off. You're competent. Yes, I bet on you. Here, have some money. Go grow my investment. Now, you competent person, go do the business thing, or whatever you do. So I don't do it. You do it. Here's some money, right? So if we think about that, what quadrant do we fall into right now? And can we jump quadrants? So back to the idea of, hey, I'm a survivor, and that's good and right. and I get the merit badge. That's cool. I've made it this far, but how do I get further? Can we jump quadrants? It's not easy. Who said this was easy? Did anybody sign you up for like the easy button or something? That doesn't exist. Okay, so no, it's not easy. We're going to be talking about this tonight on our book study with As a Man Thinketh, right? Because as long as I identify, because like James Allen said, we can't choose our circumstances, but we can choose our thoughts, and in doing so, indirectly but surely shape our circumstances. So will new combinations be revealed? Will more be revealed as we walk down maybe a different path a little bit and not do it alone? Oh, yes, this is the trick. This is the trick. But I can't cling to, I'm speaking for myself, I cannot cling to, I'm a survivor. And look, I've maintained these survival standards up to this point. Can we recognize that as good and right and done? That's done. It's the past. It's effect. It's not cause. I'm cause. Okay, great. Who else is causative around here? Can we walk this path together? Let's say for the e-commerce thing, right? We've got people tonight who are going to be, I don't know what Mark's going to do, but we got people with questions about logistics and things like that. And e-commerce takes lots of different forms, right? So maybe it's Amazon, Shopify, eBay, a variety of different things you could do. But there are principles that serve each of those modalities. Okay, fine. Who's doing it? That's the question. Who's doing it? Someone of confidence, someone of certainty. So to transition out of bare survival mode into prosperity mode, right, which is a higher level of survival, we've got to be able to get to this point where we've got certainty about where we're going. Again, I'll quote Wallace Wattles, Science of Getting Rich, which is definitely going on the reading list, by the way. And yes, you can get a free copy. I'll post that into the members site because it was written in 1910 and it is long out of copyright. But the idea that he said is that two people engaged in the same business, even in the same town, two barbers or whatever, right? One barber gets rich, the other remains poor. Why? Great question. Thanks for asking, right? So the one who gets rich does things in the certain way. And in order to do things in the certain way, you must think in the certain way. I read that like he talks about the certain way, and it's capitalized, by the way, like it's some big divine thing. He talks about it, I think it's 35 times in the book. He mentions the certain way. And so I started thinking, well, what does he mean by the certain way? Is it a special way? Is it a secret way? Is it and how can he tell me? I mean, this is 1910. I'm on the internet, man. What does he know about a certain way I do things? So I got out the best self-help book ever written. It's called The Dictionary. And I started looking up words. And one of the words I looked up was certain. And wouldn't you know it, one of the definitions of certain is the absence of doubt. Certainty. That's the certain way. And that transcends time. I don't know, you're the barber, you're the e-commerce guy, whatever you do. But can you do that with a degree of certainty, knowing that it's impossible to fail? That's not bare bones survival. That's not fight. Look, if I'm fighting, I'm lacking certainty. Now, if there's good and right times to fight, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. In fact, I had this conversation with one of my good friends, Star, here, right, about the whole idea of the right to self-defense. We were often a bit of a tangent, right, as far as like civics and things and all that. But sure. Is there a time to defend yourself, for example? Of course. Defend your company? Yeah, here's the legal department. But what I'm saying is you can't live in the legal department and create lofty, sales messages at the same time. You can't create and destroy at the same time. It's two different mindsets. That may seem a bit extreme, okay, but I'm attempting to offer some contrast here, right? And of course, there's a gradient, there's a scale, that goes in between. It's not 100% black, 100% white, but you get the point, right? Is that how much am I experiencing the flow, the easy flowing experience of creation and cooperation? That's not a fight. That's not bare bones survival. Cooperation. And that's why I say this whole thing we're doing here, this whole group, this mastermind, I've experienced it multiple times, like palpably. I've experienced it, like I can feel it, I can almost touch it. Okay, that it's not just John and what he thinks, or just Glenn or Ivier, right, or Jackie. There's a greater intelligence that comes from this conversation, this conferring with each other on these ideas, which are applicable to all of us, and now apply them to whatever area that you're interested in applying them to. I can go apply them to exercising, to how I, parent my daughter, how I play the guitar, which I haven't. I could. I didn't say I did. I said I could apply them. I could. Yeah. Okay. What's one thing? Let's look at something as seemingly mundane as that. Okay. Here's an instrument. You'd like to be good at the instrument. Do you get good at the instrument by talking about the instrument? No. By reading magazines about the instrument? No. By buying gear so that you can have more gear associated with the instrument? No. I heard an excellent guitarist say the improvometer goes up when your hands are on the guitar. Hands on guitar. That's called a high integrity action. Oh yeah, you're a guitarist? Great, do it. Right? Golf. It's the same thing. How many times have we heard, oh, it's the club? It's not the club. You can give Tiger Woods a piece of garbage. Give him a stick and he'll outplay you, right? So it's the integrity of it. How do we apply this stuff into our lives? And look, you can't have everything you want, but you can't have anything you want. All right. So choose, right? Right now, the guitar is on the back burner. Okay. But my goodness, getting into this conversation and having this forum with these esteemed people, I'm just lamenting the fact that I've actually got to move. This is the last time you're going to see me in this environment. By tomorrow, this whole room will be wiped out. So we'll be hosting I'll be co-hosting with our friends from the same laptop, but who knows what the backdrop will look like. So soak it up, everyone. Here it is. Survival on a higher level, thriving, prospering, not doing it alone, and getting into the flow, an easy flowing experience with certainty, right? And knowing that, yes, you're not going to forget what got you this far. That's cool. You get credit for that. But how can we progress further? And can we do this as a team? Can we do this with mentors, with coaches, with people who are also on the path doing high integrity actions? By their fruit, you'll know them. Right. So anyway, I'm honored and humbled that I get to participate with each of you to whatever degree I have. This is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning. Wait till I have a few more attention units that I can put on this. We're going to blow this thing. It's going to be awesome. It already is. It's already awesome. My goodness. Look at the calendar. Mark, what say you, sir? We got Mark, and then any other hands want to go up? Come on, put them up.
Hey, John. Thanks for letting me share. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm trying to keep my voice a little bit down because
you're in a different environment as well.
Yeah, I am for today, for just this morning. I wanted to maybe tackle just briefly your comments to the creative side and sales and marketing and the legal side, sort of, the control side. And the way I can best compare that is in my days in aviation. And I'm not going to steal your thunder, Wayne. You're kind of the aviation guy. I love what you're bringing forward, but or Adrian. But in my early days, we had operations. These are the guys that are putting the schedules together to fly the planes, and you had maintenance. These are the guys who are fixing the planes, so you naturally have this sort of headbutting that's going on, and because these guys are constantly in this fixing plane area, and these guys just want to fly their planes and stay current and stay tactical, etc. And then you have this third entity called QA or QC. Many people know it probably as QC, quality control, and that's sort of kind of the legal aspect, and that's the constraint aspect as well. Kind of watches the whole process, but the moving parts, what I see in the end as a result is even though you have these different sort of competing environments, the value, the end result is an aircraft that flies safely, that a person gets the training that they need to get, both in the air and those that are fixing the planes, and the people on the ground are safe because planes aren't falling out of the sky. So I see a way that they all work together for a benefit of each other, so it's kind of a checks and balances in a way, but it allows them all to function and end up with a positive or a very viable product or process. And I'm just so there's a while we can say that there are positives and negatives, I think there's kind of the yin and the yang aspect too. There's the ebb and the flow of all these, and in order for them to all, for the end product to be able to work, you have these different systems that are making it all work together, and they all have their own benefit, and they also all have their own drawbacks as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the product is secure airspace, let's say, would be one label I could put on that product, right? But what are all the moving parts and the posts that needed to be manned to create that product called secure airspace or whatever the product is? Thank you so much, Mark. Great stuff. And a great argument for the ability to delegate and not try and do everything alone. Yeah, if I was flying that plane, I would, bring chocolates to the mechanics, and do a good job, you guys. Thank you. Yeah. Where's Adrian? And anybody else wants to talk? Adrian.
Hey, John. After that build up from you, I daren't really speak. I think I'll just keep quiet.
You're brilliant. Come on.
No, you're very kind. You're very kind. No, there are so many issues you raised this morning. I don't even know where to start, but effectively it struck me the other day that what you've set up for all of us is a mind gym. You use the gym analogy, and I know mind gym is probably a copyrighted term on a well-known book, but you have set up a mind gym. Looking at what everyone's been saying in the chat as well about the value of jobs, and we can have a great time doing our job, we can love our job, and many people have done jobs they love, but if you actually want to move beyond that and capture the revenue stream for yourself and run your own costs, you have to be able to sell. What you, Shannon, and Glenn are doing for us, networking and marketing and branding, is crucial. And in my experience from what happened to me, you've got to be able to sell. And then to be able to sell, you've got to be in the right mindset. And that's what you're teaching us. So this mind gym is getting us to the position that we feel able to put ourselves out to sell and sell well, believe in what we're doing, have the authenticity, have the positive mindset. It's all linked up. It's all linked up. If you can't sell, you could be lucky and get organic referrals and you'd probably be okay. But if you want to build a reasonable business, you've got to be able to connect and network beyond your immediate circle of people. So that's how I see the process you've created. And I think it's exactly what's needed. And from my experience in the past, I wish I'd had that at various points much earlier on. Anyway, that's just thoughts, John.
Adrian, you reminded me of what's that saying? When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? Yeah. And so I'm thinking for someone who like myself has been encumbered in a certain fixed mindset, it's difficult to expand and thereby attract new audience, new public. Expansion is what we're talking about, right? Marketing, sales, we're all engaged in it in some capacity. So even if you're working a job, right? How do you get that promotion? Do you stay in this box of here's my job and here's Ivier has mentioned that to us at least 2 or 3 times in the last month, right? Where she has flexed her muscles and very well received because she's starting to think bigger than here's the box of survival, which is good survival. Okay. But what else is outside of that box? Right.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, you've got to have a marketing department at the end of the day. Otherwise you soon run out of business. Any business eventually stops. It's got to be able to sell, and you've got to be able to sell yourself. You're your own marketing department too. Let's not forget that. To get anywhere, whether it's in a job, in a business, in investment, it's all related to how you can sell yourself as well. And don't be shy in doing that. You have to be prepared to. I'm going to talk about this on Thursday, John.
We'll see you guys there. Thursday, Tools for Business and Life with Adrian Garner. Where is Mr. Henderson?
Dr. Lavenia, good morning, and good morning all. First of all, congratulations to those people of our friends, of our family here who really did experience tangible results from what we talked about on Wednesday night. That's, that's the cream on the coffee for me. It's fantastic. John, you mentioned the word survival. And that put me in mind of a part of my own story that I won't take up the time to try and tell right now, but it'll come out over time. There was a period in my life where for about 3.5 years, at least 3.5 years, my only concern was literal physical survival. And I got kudos for a very long time, as you talked about. People congratulate you. Oh, Glenn, you are a survivor. You should be proud of yourself. And I was. And I found that that period in my life, and the things that I had to do and the way that I had to think in order to survive built a mindset in me, and it strengthened that survival mindset. Obviously, I'm no longer in that period in my life. And what I have found has been a major struggle for me. It was the idea that I think I might have mentioned in the chat, that what got me here won't get me there. And so, as I have learned from you and from so many other absolute geniuses of the art and science of personal development, beginning to apply that principle of working in the certain way, of performing acts in the certain way, knowing that done right, failure is impossible, that success is inevitable. I'm finding that many more of the things, the actions that I'm taking nowadays are beginning to flow towards, put me in a flow towards success. Positive steps and positive results seem to come more easily, or with less stress, with less struggle, with less fight than before. And it is a wonderful revelation to realize and be able to implement the fact that there is much more to life and to work in business than just surviving. There is not just surviving, there is thriving, going from victimhood to victory, if you like. And that's a wonderful part of the journey that I'm on right now, and really digging it. Thanks. Back to you, John.
Thank you, brother. And it shows. You know, you're like glowing and so much, positive energy. So thank you so much, Glenn. So glad you're here with us as a facilitator as well as a participant. Let's go to Koila, and then Ivier, and then Kathy. Koila.
Hi. Yeah, I stuck my hand up as a result of something Adrian said, which was about selling and business and stuff. And yeah, I agree with that. But I also think that this whole thing is about actually living a better life, improving one's whole way of being. That's what I feel anyway. And when it comes to jobs, as I've said before, I have a job that I have no satisfaction at all from my job. Well, today I've actually got 3 jobs altogether. So today I got to participate in one of my other jobs, which is as an ambulance driver, and that was an entirely different experience. And I got to help somebody, and that was very satisfying. So that's something I do for an entirely different reason and nothing to do with survival. So I have one job that's to do with survival and 2 jobs that are to do with participating in the community and getting some joy back out of doing something useful and providing a service. Which, working in a bakehouse, I don't think making biscuits that make people unhealthy is just a terribly good thing to do, really. It's not high on my list of things to be doing. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. This is helping, yes, with my business, but it's helping my life and my outlook and my attitude and everything. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody want a biscuit? Thank you, my friend. Oh, good stuff. Where's Ivier, and then Kathy?
Hello, John. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I think what's resonating for me as you were speaking is, historically, when you think of sales and the fact that you can't do it on your own, it's usually come from a competitive approach as opposed to a collaborative or creative approach. And I think this is one of the things I like about our group here and our growing family, that even though we're all in this together and we're all trying to build our businesses, most of us here on the same platform, that creative side and that collaborative spirit is well and truly alive. And it just goes to show that you don't have to do the dog eat dog mentality that you find in the corporate world or in other, forums. It's it's that mentality of there's enough for everyone. It's you know, it's just thinking the abundance, and you know, you can have your piece, I can have my piece, and we're not infringing on anyone. We're not making anybody less than they can possibly be, that there is space and room for all of us to have what it is we want. But at the same time, you know, help each other along the way. It's not gonna detract from anyone or, you know, stop anyone's progress, you know, in that sense of the word. And then also the fact of, yeah, we can arrive where we want to go, but do we end up being the right people to enjoy what it is we are building? And that for me is so critical, because there are a lot of people who probably financially have moved quadrants from E to I, and they're, you know, they've got everything they need and then some. But are they really people I would want to sit around a table with? Some of them, I don't think so. You know, because just their personality, who they are, their character is not pleasing. It's, you know, you hear their speech, you see their, you know, their mannerisms, and you're like, how did you get to where you are? But you can easily tell that they probably climbed over God knows how many people to get as far as they did, and they burned bridges and all of that. But what we have here is, you know, we're egging each other on and saying we can all make it, but we're not destroying relationships along the way. And that for me is just so important. And it's a breath of fresh air, really. So yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivia. And thank you for bringing up the distinction between financial success and, you know, character, pleasing or non-pleasing character. So I know plenty of rich people who are awesome. I know plenty of rich people who I wouldn't want to spend time with.
Exactly.
So it's not about the money.
Money.
But I think a lot of time, people conflate or they just identify everything as everything, right? So everything equals everything else. That's crazy, by the way. That's insanity. And yet, well, look at society, right? So you having those distinctions is huge, right? I think the most miserable people are those who have no purpose or who are off
Good,
purpose.
baby. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
Sandy will be
Casper.
right back. We hear you,
Be back.
Sandy. Okay. That's a nice picture, by the way. She's got like an old carriage or something. Anyway, we'll get Sandy out here in just a minute. But those distinctions, like looking at what is and saying, I choose that. I don't choose that aspect of that example that I just gave. Is there a way to do it, you know, better or more ethically or whatever it happens to be? Because I think there's a lot of demonization of successful people. I'll tell you what, Ivia, if you show up here one day and you know what, say, ladies and gentlemen, I just hit a great goal. I now have a net worth of over 10 million pounds, or, you know, whatever, insert, you know, the number here. And it's a lofty number, right? I would celebrate that.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hooray. And I'm thinking, how much more good can Ivia do in the world with that money than she could without?
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Other people may not say that, oh, Ivia must have stepped on people. She must be an unethical, rotten, rich person. Whoa. Right? It's like Glenn was talking about with victimhood, right? I mean, you'll never be successful with that kind of an attitude, right?
Exactly.
So, my friend Ivia. Let's go to Kathy and then Ego. What's going on, Kathy Marble?
Yes. Sorry, I'm gone dark today because I'm.
Oh, I was so looking forward to seeing you.
Right.
Oh.
So, good evening, afternoon. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. What Adrian was saying about the gym, it's almost done like a laundromat as well, because I feel like, you know, you hear us and it's time for recycling, washing, and cleaning up. And you are such a consummate nurturer. We so appreciate the fact that there are so many of us at so many levels of strength and growth. And you are always willing to go to the least. And see, when you're moving a group, you can only go as fast as the slowest person in that sense. But you yield to that sound of, you know, from that weak place, and you acknowledge it, but you help refocus us on the goal. And that is true. I mean, if you were a mother, if you were a, you know, one of the designated names of God is the many-breasted one. It is as if there is nurturing for everyone and more than enough. So I thank you for that. I did want to say regarding the victim mentality, because, you know, while while, you know, we can understand the destructive side, the linear side, and then the creative side, and all of this is inside of us as we are growing in this, and most of us would probably just like to lop off a side and let that do what it does, but it always has to come back to us. I'm much more creative than I sometimes want to be, and so the linear thinking is challenging for me. But what I find is when I press in to getting the hard work done and being as linear as I can possibly be, it gives way to my creative side. In other words, while I'm doing it, I'm thinking, how can I do this better? Or how can this be easier for me or more fun for me when I do it? And so once I have checked that done box, I am free to go over there in many different directions to reset that dial for the hard place for me. So yeah, I have in the past facilitated lots of grief share, divorce care, and so in a lot of places, taking people from that victim mentality, which has to be heard at some time, because they have to acknowledge it. They have to know it's in there. They have to know it's speaking or still speaking. But to move them forward is a completely different mindset, working from their known strength to strengthen that weakness. Okay, that's all I know today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I am now the many-breasted magnetic one.
Woohoo!
Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kathy. You're so awesome. Where's Ego? And then we'll go to Therese. Hey, Ego.
I'm here. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Okay, so two things came to mind. The first point is around what you said with, you know, we can't create and destroy at the same time. When I think about that, I think about our mindset to start with, as Adrian said, and the power of our words. So we can't really build up. We can't tear down with our words and also build up. We have to make a choice. You build others up with your words and not tear down, even yourself, right? So, and then just to kind of add that to what Yvier said earlier in the distinction and us actually lifting each other up without deflecting ourselves or taking away from ourselves. It kind of reminded me of a quote that my husband frequently kind of reads that tells me about. And it's basically saying that our progress as a community in this case is as a community can't be swifter than our progress in education. So we are here for a reason. We have to build ourselves up. You talk a lot of times about personal development and investing in ourselves. If we don't invest in ourselves, then we can't be of value to anybody else, be it our peers, our family, or even our customers as entrepreneurs. So it makes us a fundamental resource in that process. And then, you know, there's the saying that goes that the society actually grows, or in this case, the community grows, when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in, right? So it may well be that we're sowing seed here or through our efforts, our intentional efforts for generations to come. Right. So, you know, like Yvier said, you've moved from one quadrant to the other. What's to say that I want to sit around the table with those people? What if I'm creating something that lasts from generation to generation? I'm leaving a legacy behind, but at the same time, actually improving my life and the lives of those around me. Right. So, you know, that's kind of what came to mind.
Thank you, Ego. Who knows the long-reaching effects that we could have right
Exactly.
now, through our applied intention right now. Oh, this is huge. Thank you, Ego. Good stuff. I see one more hand up, and then we may be wrapping up for today. Where is Therese? Therese, you and I need to get together. We need to talk about Pilates. Where's Therese?
I'm right here. Hi.
There she is.
Sorry, I've been gone. I missed Friday and it's been a little crazy, but I wanted to at least say hello and not be silent today. Still trying to figure out where to be. My desk isn't set up yet. Yeah, living out of the boxes, so to speak. I had a hard time getting in this morning for a variety of reasons, but I missed the topic. I've kind of been listening to everyone's comments and kind of get the gist of it. Unfortunately, my head is in a lot of different directions. So I don't really have anything to speak to about what we're talking about. I feel, again, a little spun out, but I wanted to say hello. Thank you, everyone. I'm really happy to be back into some sort of a semblance here. I guess I would say, yeah, you're succeeding. I think for me, the realization that I have failed equals I'm a success. Because if, I'm sure many people have quoted this before in books, but the definition of success is trying, right? I mean, if you fail, you weren't not trying, right? So just sitting there not doing anything is certainly not me. So anyway, getting your head around positive action, making sure you've got all the tools, making sure you've got this really supportive group around you, and seeing your vision and achieving it. So I feel really delighted. My apartment was on a vision board and I'm in it. And this week it'll just continue to rise. So anyway, thank you, everyone. Nice to be here.
Congratulations on your new digs, your new apartment. That's fantastic. I see an orchid in the background there.
There's
It seems to be happy as well.
Yeah, it's pretty happy.
That's great. Very nice. And we're talking about success. My favorite definition I got from Earl Nightingale, which is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So as long as you're progressively making something more real deliberately, and it's worthy of you and your time, it's your ideal, well, then that's it. You're a success, right? And we have actions, which we could label as missing the mark. Okay. Thank you. There's what not to do. Okay. So thank you, Therese. So glad you're here with us. I think we're going to wrap up with Adrian. You got some closing comments, sir? Adrian?
Sorry to jump in again, John. I think we'll have a new spiritual name as well for you, by the way, the well-endowed one in future.
The well-endowed, multi-breasted.
Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, I just wanted to add, Coilla issued us with a most fantastic cautionary warning, really, and something I've seen in the past. And Ivier referring to dog eat dog. So many of the people you see on the other side of the table in the dog eat dog mode are insecure. They think there's nothing more and they're going to keep everything for themselves. Warning to us all, as Coilla said, to develop ourselves. Some people may not have experienced a one-off big win success yet, but it's going to come. And when it does, don't forget being on the other side of that table and helping the next person and what that means, because it's so easy to say, this is a big win. I'm keeping it all for myself. There's no dollars left for anybody else. I've done my bit. That's such an easy mentality. A lot of people fall into that and they just grab everything for themselves. They don't do the development work that Coilla has talked about. And, there, but for the grace of God, really, we've got to stay aware as we get on this journey. We owe a debt back too, and we've got to help the next person too.
Very good. Thank you, Adrian. And thank you all for sharing here today. This has been a fun start to our week. We are not only surviving, but we are thriving, and it's just getting bigger, stronger, faster, isn't it? So we're going to get a whole lot done this week. I know I have to get a whole lot done, and I can't do it alone. So thank you all for everyone who's participating and chipping in. Again, welcome to our brand new members. We're going to be, as of the following week, we're going to be doing some new expansion type of stuff. So if you're here with us now, you're the core group of the core group of the core group. So welcome to the inner circle. And of course, if you're seeing us on YouTube or Facebook and you'd like to be in the core group, you can go ahead and click the link that I'm sure you'll find in the description or somewhere, and you can get yourself a couple weeks free as an actual member here of the Success Mastermind. That's all for now. For those of you going to tune in on our hospitality suite, we'll see you in there. In the meantime, be back here tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, with Mark Riggle for e-commerce work group. And then of course, 9 o'clock tonight, we're going deep dive into the philosophy of James Allen. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, John.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.